You're listening to WNYX Radio, your home for music, news, sports, and talk. Now available on the TuneIn app and your Alexa device.
Like, hey, Scoob, we're listening to your home for all the 70s and 80s artists we all grew up with. And it's on the Shakeman show. You're home for the 70s and 80s artists we all grew up with. You're listening to the Shakeman show.
This program contains adult material and language. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, all right. Welcome back. And all right, so I wanted to touch on this because we got everything else out of the way so far of what we usually do in the beginning of the show. Just wanted to touch on this subject because it's very dear to my heart since I go way back with the band and with Gigi. So just wanted to say very, very sad when I heard the news of George Godotti, Gigi, bass player of Heaven's Edge, who passed away Sunday after he succumbed to his cancer. He was a warrior, and he battled to the end. And Reggie said he was just that kind of guy who, never complained, never, like even when he was battling his cancer, when he first found out he was battling stage 4 lung cancer. And first thing he said to Reggie was, well, dude, I can't complain. I've been smoking cigarettes since I was 10 years old. What do you expect?
Jesus.
Yeah. He said, what do you expect? It was going to catch up to me sooner or later,
Definitely.
right? But that's the kind of guy he was, man. He didn't complain, he didn't whine. He was, never said that, never that why me kind of guy,
Right.
Really great dude. And, yeah, so the band, we send our condolences out to the band, of course, George's family, and everybody. I mean, I think the whole Philadelphia rock community and South Jersey community is feeling this hurt. Because we got to see some great times with Gigi, and he's been through so much. Even times back in his past where we thought we almost lost Gigi when he got shot outside the Empire Rock Club.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and he survived that, and it was just if he was the bad. I mean, the funny thing about it was the guy looked every time you've seen him looked 100% healthy. He's kept in great shape. And but it goes to show you we got to take a little bit of care of ourselves, man, with the with the vices that we have, the heavy drinking, smoking, stuff like that. I mean, we can't avoid everything. We can even be the most tip-top shape person and still get a disease. I mean, it happens.
It's sometimes not even that. It's, look at Jim Fix.
Yeah.
Guy wrote a book on running and drops dead of a heart attack at 50 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it can happen. I mean, but we can step up and take care of ourselves the best we can, and that's the only thing we're in control of our bodies. So everything going on inside is something we can't control. So, but we can try to do our best. But George did send that out. He was saying to people that take good care of yourself, and so here's a little letter that was sent out from the band Heaven's Edge. It's out on their website right now. This was released. It's saying it was great sadness that we are announcing the passing of our brother George Gigi Godotti, who succumbed to lung cancer on Sunday, August 18th, 2019. He was 57 years old, which is way too young to die, but we met George in the summer of 1987 as we were putting the band together, and our lives would never be the same again. His impact was immediate. Once George joined the band, we knew the five of us would be set for life as brothers, no matter what the rock and roll world had in store for us. George took the band's stage show to highest of highs. He never settled for anything less than the best for every one of us because he wanted our audiences to leave feeling their expectations were exceeded night after night. No one appreciated the audience more than George. For George, it wasn't just enough to give it 110% on stage. He never let up on stage as well. If there were people laughing or a good time was being had around the band, there was no question who was the center of that. George, everywhere he went, he was a catalyst for complete and total being hilarious, rowdy, and insanity. But George also thoughtful and compassionate. He would go to the ends of the earth for people in need. George was not perfect, as none of us are, but with George, he never hid his imperfections. He wore them on his sleeve, out there open for all to see. He was honest about his lifestyle he lived. When he told he had lung cancer, he said to all of us, "What the hell did you expect? I've been smoking since I was 10 years old." And he laughed the way he always did. He didn't want to go, but he knew his time on this earth was going to be cut short. For those who saw the second go-around with Heaven's Edge, you saw a guy in George who defied aging. He was more energetic in his 50s than he was in his 20s. His smile, ridiculous energy, and pure love for being on stage reminded us that the band exactly did make it. We made it because we found our brothers for life. We made it in the areas that count for the most, and we have George to thank for that. George Gigi Gadati was a rock star. He didn't make tons of money like a lot of the rock stars do, but he was a rock star, just simple and plain as that. We're going to miss him. Mark, Reggie, Steve, and Dave of Heaven's Edge. That's awesome. Really awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, very well said. And, he's going to be truly, God bless you. He's going to be truly missed. So very sad, very sad. But as you know, we did the Rockopedia back on Heaven's Edge some months back. I believe we did it. As I said, very dear band to me because I got to see their very first performance ever at the Empire Rock Club back in 1987. And I was hooked from that very first show and followed the band loyally and faithfully pretty much through their whole career. So that means a lot to me, and it's one of the stories I can share with you is I got to share the stage with Gigi and Reggie and Steve Perry was there. There was some kind of a benefit, I believe, going on at Sweeney's, and them guys actually came up to join. I was up there with Hangman's Cry, and them guys came up to jam. We did a few tunes. And we did a couple of songs, and I believe we did one or two Heaven's Edge songs. It's a memory that'll always be with me. And I put that photo up on my Facebook page. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see the photo of me, Gigi, Steve. And it's so funny because also in the picture is Mark Berger's wife, Mark Berger's fiance.
Christine, really?
Yeah, Christine is in the picture with me.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was there that night, and she jumped up into the picture. She goes, "Can I get a picture?" Yeah, get up here. And she jumped on stage because she followed Heaven's Edge loyally also too, and I believe she was good friends with Gigi too. So, it's a great memory that I look back on and remember. Like I said, I have a few memories with them guys that I go back in, and being on stage was one of the coolest things. I got to jam with Steve, Reggie, and Gigi that night, and then I got to, on a separate occasion, I got to have Mark Evans come up and sing "Play Dirty" with Hangman's Cry, which was really cool time for me too. But for what I remember, Gigi was a great guy, always smiling, always put a smile on your face, a jokester as always, lighted up the room, and just a great dude. And it's I'm honored to sit here and say that I share a lot of great memories with Heaven's Edge and Gigi since 1987. So, he's going to be sadly missed, man. Really, really great dude. For all you people that are listening all around that you're not familiar, if you're not in the Philadelphia or South Jersey, I'm sure you've heard of Heaven's Edge if you are a hair metal fan or a metal fan, because they have been played on Hair Nation. And Jen just told me during the break that they actually mentioned it on Sirius Hair Nation about the passing of Gigi. So, Heaven's Edge had a very short career, 2 albums, and their record label dropped them very early in their career, within the first 2 years of the band's being signed. But 2 albums or not, this band was definitely And like I said, I like to give my opinion. That's what I do, and we have that freedom of speech to do that. Out of the bands that came out of Philadelphia, Brittany Fox, Cinderella, who went a little bit farther than Heaven's Edge did. My favorite band out of Philadelphia was Heaven's Edge. I got to see Cinderella and Brittany Fox early in their days too, in the early club scene, but I didn't share the closeness that I had with Heaven's Edge because they recognized me being there. Which was so cool. I mean, you go to see a lot of rock bands, and I can tell you right out the bat, there's bands that made it and came back, and they don't even remember you. But I would walk anywhere I went to see Heaven's Edge. They'd be like, "There he is," and they point to me because I was at every show. I was right there up front watching their shows, man. And they recognized that. And I'll never forget. Like I said the story on the Shakeman show quite a few times over the years I've been doing radio. I will never forget that night when they were getting really, really big before they got signed. That night, I was standing out there almost on the first lane of the boulevard where the Empire used to be at Tyson and the Boulevard. And it was packed, and I said, we're not getting in because my buddy was late that night. I was pissed at him. I said, thanks a lot, dude. We're not getting in. And Mark saw me, and he's like, yo, dude, what's up, bro? I was like, yo, what's up, man? And, he said, come on. And he took me. He got me and my buddy in. He said we were stage crew or so. I don't know how he got us through the door, but he told the dude, no, they're with me, and he got us in that night. It's just like the small things that I remember. And like I said, that night I mentioned about Gigi getting shot. What happened was one of the asshole drunks that was in there got in a argument with one of the bouncers. The bouncer was throwing him out because he was actually. I remember the dude. He was a complete tool. He was acting like a complete ass. And they said he was flagged because he started doing stupid shit. He started heckling the bands, and it got really crazy. And so the bouncer came over, got a hold of him, and they threw him out. And what happened was this asshole decided to come back at the end of the show to start shooting at the bouncer. Start shooting into the club at the bouncer, and Gigi accidentally, it wasn't meant for him, but he got hit with a ray of bullets and took some to the chest. Jesus. And thank God it didn't hit any vital organs or hit any vital spots in his body. He was able to get through that and survive. This is when the band was upcoming, and they were this close. I mean, I'm showing you like a very little inch of my two fingers together here of how close they were to getting a record deal. And it was like, wow, we got to this point. But one thing I can say about this band and how close they were, and I played in bands all my life, and I, like I said, I have that kind of brotherhood with the guys I'm with now. But it took, and I played with a few musicians that I can say I really had a brotherhood with, and there's other people I can say they were just bandmates, and I just moved on. But you can tell the brotherhood these guys had. You can tell it how close they were. You can tell it on stage, and they stuck by his side through that whole time he laid in the hospital after getting shot. And they said, well, you know what? If it's our time, and if it's our time and we're going to get signed, well, we're going to put that on hold until our brother's back with us. And they did. They did. Wow. They just put it on the back burner, and then when that's how incredible shape that Gigi was in. He got back. He recovered quickly, and they got back out on that stage and started jamming again. And before you know it, boom, record deal came through. And the band was, they're on cloud nine at that point. And to be able to be there at all them shows and to be there tonight, they announced it like, we have we have a big announcement on WMMR happening tonight. And, what they did is they left the show from the Empire, went into WMMR. And I remember Joey Bonadonna. You remember Joey Bonadonna? Yeah, Joey Bonadonna, who did a lot for Heaven's Edge. He hosted a lot of their shows and was like the, kind of like the host to go up there and announce the band. And he got them the first show on MMR when MMR started doing live shows from the Empire. Heaven's Edge was the first band to be a part of that. Wow! So he helped out a lot, and I remember that night, being at that show and then rushing home, and that night
Tuning
on
in.
WMMR.
Yeah,
They
tuning
announced
into
we
it.
have signed with Columbia Records. They were so happy on top of cloud. I was so happy for them because I said this band's going to make it. I just knew they were going to make it. They were just so good, and to be able to share that them times with that band, and if you can say you were one of them people with, I know could be some people listening tonight. Or people that experienced the same thing I had, that watched this band through their whole career. It's a great thing. You can sit back and say that I was there. I was there when they filmed the Skin to Skin video. I was there. I was at the Trocadero. They filmed half of it there and half of it in California. I was in that crowd.
Wow.
And then the night they recorded "Is That All You Want?" They wanted to put that live on their first album, and they did it 5 times in a row at the Empire until they got the perfect one to put on the album. And I was there. I mean, to be able to share this, an album comes out, like I was there. The video comes out on MTV. I was there. It's a great thing it's a passion that I have, that I share, that I love to share with everybody that I'm sharing with now, because it's just a great thing.
And what's cool is when we went to their show when they played at the Electric Factory, was it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And
oh, you mean the show you went with us?
Yeah.
That was TLA.
The TLA. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're up on stage with who was that? Jack? Who was up there with them? Jackie Bam Bam, was it?
Jackie Bam Bam introduced them.
MMR
Yeah.
Introduced them.
Yeah.
And while he's up there with MMR, he says, "Yeah, we got a call and we're doing an interview with the Shakeman show." He gives our show a shout out while he's talking with another radio
Mark Evans.
station.
Yeah, Mark Evans said,
Yep.
he said, we got the Shakeman show out here, pointing out. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah,
For
he's
him
like,
to give us a plug was like,
we got a call while we were on the Shakeman show, letting us know that the show is sold out. So I mean, it was.
you
cool
remember that? You remember that, guys? You remember when we were interviewing Mark?
Yeah,
And he got the phone call. He goes, "Oh, hold on, guys." He actually got
that
this.
was funny.
Yeah, the call that came in on this. He went to the other line, and that was actually them saying the show just sold out, and he announced it right there on the air with us.
Yeah.
That the show just. He said the show just sold out at this very minute.
like Shakeman show exclusive.
Yeah,
Sold out.
This very second, it's sold out, man. Right here, I just got the phone call while I'm on the doing an interview with the Shakeman show. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean the fact. I mean, just giving us acknowledgement. I mean, we're not a big show by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
And just acknowledgement, appreciating that what we were doing.
You got to realize that it's a big deal for us, for someone to acknowledge, like you said, to acknowledge a show like that with us. They're like, we're an internet radio show that we wish we were. I mean, we're listened to all over the world. I mean, we are on the internet radio, but we're not, like you said, like this huge this huge radio show where we're millionaires and we do this every day, which I wish we did, but to be acknowledged, it means a lot. It's awesome.
It shows that they appreciate what we do as much as we appreciate what they do.
Yeah, and that's that's what made me appreciate what we do here on the radio show, and maybe that's the second time I got to feel that. I got to feel that twice, because the other time is when me and Jen went to Sellersville Theater after interviewing Dave Medichetti.
Nice.
2 nights later, we're at the Sellersville Theater
I remember that interview. That was
to
cool.
go up and say hi to Dave. Dave came out to greet everybody and talk to everybody, and for him to approach us, we were walking towards him, and he stopped walking towards us. He stopped and pointed at us and went, "Shakeman show, right?"
Nice.
And we did an on-air live phone interview with this guy 2 nights before, so that means the guy actually went on our site to see what we looked like, because he never seen what we look like. We never met him before. This is the first time we met him. So he obviously did his research and looked at the show he was going to be on, and he recognized Jen and I just like that.
Wow.
And so did his wife. So did Jill. Jill was over there at the T-shirt stand, and she recognized Jen, and she said, "Jen from the Shakeman show, right?" Because
it's scary.
Because Jen and Jill talked a lot through email, getting the interview set up, and it's just cool to me, because there's so many douchebag rock stars out there that wouldn't even give us the time of day. Or
I wouldn't give you the time of day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's like for them to acknowledge, it's a big deal to us, man. I mean, it might sound petty for anybody else, but to us, it means a lot. So, and Heaven's Edge always been that kind of band for me. We interviewed Reggie, we interviewed Mark a couple times.
We interviewed what about?
We interviewed Gigi. We interviewed Gigi. Yeah, I wish we can find that. It's in our.
We will eventually find.
We will find that and get that up for you on our YouTube channel.
3 of them at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
over the phone.
The only one we didn't. The only 2 we didn't interview because they don't do this. The social stuff is and the funny thing is Steve Perry. When I talk to him, because he used to talk to me a lot, all the time, and I'd be like, Steve, why don't you come on and do you listen to this? He was telling me, dude, I listen to your show every week. I love your show. It's great. And I was like, really, dude? Are you serious? He goes, yeah, dude, your show's awesome. And I said, why don't you come on and do an interview? He goes, no.
Ain't my scene.
I leave that to Mark, Reggie, and Gigi. Me and Dave kind of stay out of that.
See, so he and I are opposites. Like, he won't do the interview thing, like over radio. He won't do that.
Yeah.
But he'll be up on stage.
Yeah,
I don't do the stage thing.
No, you're good with the interview.
Yeah,
but you're the opposite of Steve. Yeah, you exactly. Do the yeah. But so we got to interview all the guys besides Dave and Steve, but they don't do the interviews. They said no, they leave that to the other 3 guys. So we got to interview all 3 of them guys. So, I said we go way back with these guys. And I got a great statement from Jimmy Marciano, who if you've been in the local Philly scene since the 80s. If you don't know Jimmy Marciano, then I guess you really weren't out in the Philly scene. Jimmy Marciano goes way back. A phenomenal guitar player who played with LeCompte for many years.
I've heard of them.
And is now in the Led Zeppelin tribute band. The only, in my opinion, great. Who does it perfect, 100%. Get the lead out. And that's where Jimmy's in now. But Jimmy was a big part of the second album because Steve wasn't in the band at that time with the band when they did the second album. So Jimmy Marciano came in, did a lot of guitar work, a lot of acoustic work, and toured with the band. So Jimmy does a little shout out and says, never played with or met a nicer guy than Gigi. He said, it's a tragic loss to my heart and to the local community. So Jimmy wanted to do a special shout out to Gigi and Jimmy Marciano. Also, like I said, many years with LeCompte. He was a part of the Black Eyed Susan that came out with Dizzy Dean after the Britney Fox days, and he's a phenomenal guitar player. And he, like I said, he got to tour with the band and was on the lot of the second album. So he wanted to share his his stuff out there too. So a little story. Like I said, some of you guys that are listening to the show might be out there and who knows where, because we're on the internet. So we can be a lot of this. So we had listeners from England. We had a few from Japan. So
could be in Istanbul or Constantinople, either one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you at. And like I said, Mark, when we talked to Mark was like, I was blown away when we went to the Fire Fest in Chicago, or if we did the cruises. People they knew us. We had a short career. We were only out there for 2 albums, but people knew who we were. They loved our music. They were singing our songs.
Wow.
And, he said,
made a big impact.
He said, we weren't out there as long as the other bands. So to be able to have people out there singing your songs and know you, since your career got, cut short, that's a phenomenal feeling. And, it's just so, every time I saw videos of when they went out, when they played in Sweden, they were singing Find Another Way so loud that he said they couldn't even sing the song because they just let the crowd take it. And that's in Sweden.
Yeah, they love 80s music.
And it's phenomenal. And I said, dude, I told Mark, I said, dude, I'm saying this on my radio show. That's why I base my radio show on this music. I said, because, dude, old school rock and roll is the best music. 70s and 80s rock and roll tops any kind of music that's out there when it comes to loyalty and true fans. Because other people walk away, the other kinds of music, they walk away, they jump on the next new genre of music. They jump ship, and they jump on all that new shit coming out. I said, true 80s metal fans and 70s classic rock fans, they don't forget. They stay true, and they stay with their bands, man. And Mark was like, yeah, I know that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a great feeling. And so a little scoop. I did a Rockopedia on these guys back in the day. They were formed back in 1987, founded by Reggie Wu and Mark Evans, who were both in two separate bands at that time. Reggie was in White Fox, and Mark was in a really great band called Network. I got to see both them bands also at the Empire. They went through a few guitar changes till they found Steve Perry. They signed with Columbia Records in 1990, reached number 141 on the Billboard 200. Put out their second album in 99 overseas. Their producer was Neil Kernan. And of course, the band released a video for their most popular single, Skin to Skin, which was on MTV.
Yay.
Yep. And a great interview, too. If you guys have not... I mean, there's a few people that were on the Heaven's Edge page like, oh, my God, I didn't even know you guys did that. I just saw this for the first time. That Gigi and Mark went on to the MTV. They were on MTV Headbangers Ball and did an interview. I believe it was with Ricky Rackman. So if you have not seen that, it's on YouTube. So go on there and punch in Heaven's Edge interview on Headbangers Ball. It's a really cool interview. It's with Mark and Gigi sitting there doing, and they actually introduced their new video, Skin to Skin. It was really cool. So if you haven't checked that out, that is out there on YouTube. As I mentioned, the band got out on the scene a little late for the 80s metal scene. They came out, they got signed in 1990, did an East Coast tour, even got a chance to open up for Ronnie James Dio, which I got to see at the Philadelphia Spectrum. And but what happened was, the like I said, the shitty change of times in the 90s when the grunge scene came in to ruin pretty much good music. And the record label was not interested in 80s metal anymore and dropped the band and moved on to grunge music and start signing bands in the grunge era. Thank you very much. And that's when music went downhill. So, as I said, it was a short career. And they also, I said this a lot of people didn't know this either, that they actually were on a Motley Crue tribute band on the Kickstart My Heart tribute album, and the band recorded a cover of Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. Yeah. So then the band, of course, when they got dropped at the record label, split up. A couple members of the band went on to form American Pie with a new singer. So it was basically Heaven's Edge without Mark Evans. I remember the dude. He had real long red hair. He was a pretty good singer. American Pie was pretty good, but I'm like, they're not Heaven's Edge. Mark went on to join a band called The Pack, and then I got that. It was so funny because the reason why I remember this night, it was at it was up there. What was that club up on McDade Boulevard? They had two clubs. Oh, man, I forget the name of it.
I have no clue.
But anyway, I remember that night.
I wasn't allowed to go that far away.
I remember that night because it was The Pack and American Pie were playing on the same stage. Like,
Are
they
you
were playing.
serious?
Yeah, and what happened was they got up on stage together. Mark jumped on stage with American Pie. The dude said, dude, get up here, like the singer from American, get up here. And next thing you know, they just belted out 3 Heaven's Edge songs.
Nice.
And people went bananas. The people in the place went bananas. I was like, whoa. And then when everybody went, I had my Heaven's Edge shirt on that night.
There you go.
And they're like pointing at me to like, we got something special for you, dude. And that's when they did the 3 songs, and I was in my glory. And people went bananas. And that's when they said to themselves, you know what? We're probably going to do some kind of reunion someday. Yeah. Because if that went over that well, then I think we might have something in the future to do. It took a while, but they did some benefits here and there. Nice. Until they came back full blast. About, I think it was around 2012, 2013. They came out really full blast. But a lot of people didn't know that Mark Evans, after that Pack and after the American Pie, he left Philly. I mean, he always lived in South Jersey. He left South Jersey and went out to Florida for 5 years to run a construction company.
Damn.
Yeah. And when he returned, and I remember running into Mark when he first came back to the area. They moved back to South Jersey, and I said, Mark? Because I didn't recognize, he had short hair, man.
Oh, no.
He had no hair. Every time this is the guy I used to yell at the Empire Rock Club, like, dude, step aside. I can't see through your Aquanet hair.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Okay? I can't see through that freaking big thing of hair. And this guy came back with no hair from Florida.
I thought I had a lot of hair. Holy.
Yeah. And, I always told Mark, I said, you know what? I'm always going to envy you. I didn't want to say what I called him at that time. But I said, I'm always going to envy your hair because it grows it just doesn't stop growing. And when he grew his hair back, it took no time for his hair to come back.
Yeah.
I seen him come when he first came back. He's starting to get back in the music slowly, doing some acoustic things. And within like a year and a half, his freaking long hair was back. I'm like, you son of a bitch, Al, you got that back that quickly.
And it's friggin' thick as hell too.
Yeah.
My God damn.
And so he started doing acoustic things, and that's where. And I told you earlier when Hangman's Cry was playing the Cell Block reunion in 2011 or 2012, Mark came up, and we were at the time Hangman's Cry was covering Play Dirty.
Yeah.
And I told Mark, Mark was there that night. He opened up the show with an acoustic set, and I said, Mark, we'd be honored if you came up. We do Play Dirty. Would you come up and do it with me? He's like, oh my God, dude. I haven't performed that song in I can't tell you how long. I was like, dude, who cares? It's all fun. And I said, just come up and jam with us. He goes, just as long as you back me up and sing with me. I'm like, dude, I'll be up there with you singing back vocals. He said, all right. So he came up on stage. I got it on audio. I got it on video. It's a great memory. And he came up and did Play Dirty with us. It was awesome. A phenomenal night. It was great. But yeah, this sparked, like I said, the band got sparked. Like I said, they made a couple appearances, and it really got the attention of the community. And they said, "Wow, people didn't forget us. They did not forget us." So in 2013, of October 2013, Reunited Heaven's Edge played the Firefest Festival in Nottingham, UK. A sold-out show in Philly at the World Cafe, which I was at, and the M3. You were there, right? Yeah, and the M3. Yeah, that's right. And the M3 Rock Festival in Maryland, and then they played in Chicago in 2014, and then, of course, the Monsters of Rock Cruise in 2015, and a few other Philly gigs after that. So, yeah, it reunited the band and got them back, and it was great to see them play again. It's like they didn't even miss a beat when we got to see these guys jam. Just a phenomenal band that I will always have in my heart because I've seen this band start from the very first night they played to getting that record deal to where we're at today. So band has a special place in my heart. I've always said that on my show for years. So it's a band that's, really special in my heart more than, any other band that I grew up seeing. So I just wanted to send my best out to the rest of the guys. I know them guys are hurting really bad right now. And just wanted to let you know that, little peon radio shows like us, we remember and we care. So just wanted to send that out there. So all right, guys, before I get ready I want to jam a block of these guys because I love them. And before I do that, you guys have any? I mean, you guys don't have the memories that I share with the band because you don't go way back with them as much as but we got to hang out and see this band live together.
Yep.
And was it me, Jen? Because I've got a lot of people into Heaven's Edge. There's a lot of people never heard of Heaven's Edge, and I made them CDs and said, you got to get this band. Well, what I would do is give them a couple sample songs, say, yo, buy their CD. You know what I mean?
There you go.
And I turned on Heaven's Edge to a lot of people.
Actually, MTV Skin to Skin.
Is that when you first saw them?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's when I saw his hair.
Oh, you saw Mark?
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, great hair. Mark's got great hair.
I
don't play for the other team, but I'm just saying, dude's got great hair.
This Asian guitarist.
Oh.
I was freaking out.
Wow. Reggie
He
Wu.
was phenomenal.
Phenomenal guitar player.
He still is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And the amount of hair he had sticking straight the hell off his head was insane.
They all had the Aquanet hair.
Yeah,
all of them did.
Craziness.
Even Gigi. Yeah, Gigi had it.
I should do that with my hair. What do you
Oh,
think?
Lord, no, please.
No?
No, you wouldn't be able to fit in your car.
It would be like Willie Nelson with the '80s hair metal look.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm sorry, who's older?
Shut up. Who looks older? Oh!
Who's got...
Oh! Oh! That was a throwback.
Uh-huh. That was a terrible throwback.
That was a terrible throwback. Trying to hit the
that was
trying to hit the
bad.
recyclable bin and didn't do a good job. Hit the door instead.
Yeah.
Love you, G-Man.
Yeah, whatever.
So go ahead, Jen. Jen said Skin to Skin was the first time she
Skin
got
to
to
Skin,
experience Heaven's Edge.
And actually got to really talk to Mark and his wife Jeannie for a considerable amount of time at a show that wasn't even Heaven's Edge.
Right.
They were just at a show down in Delaware. I forget who was playing, but they were there, and it was one point I looked over and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Mark Evans."
Mm-hmm.
And I walked over. I saw the red hair, which is Jeannie, and then the blonde hair, which is Mark. It's the only way you could tell these two.
Yeah.
And I walked over and I said, "Excuse me, Jeannie." I said, "Can I borrow your husband for a minute?" She's like, "Oh, please take him."
Oh, nice. There you go.
I just wanted to get pictures with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I just say, "Hey, can I get some pictures?" They're like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Super people.
I'm telling you, great people, and if you want to look at the, I guess if you would say true love, look it up in a book, and you would see these guys' pictures in it. These two,
absolutely.
These two are what you call probably the most perfect couple I've ever been around, and it's just phenomenal, and for something I learned later in the band's career was "Find Another Way," which is a great song that I love performing with Old School. "Find Another Way" was about Jeannie, and he said, "I almost lost her, man. I knew she was the one, and I was a fool, to let her get away from me the first time." And he said, "Once I got her back, there was no way in hell on this lifetime that she would ever get away from me again." And that's where "Find Another Way" came from when he wrote that song, "Find Another Way to Your Heart." So, and I all these years, I knew these guys, I talked to these guys, and when I found out that song was about Jeannie, I'm like, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Yes, it does. So yeah, I mean, and we've another great memories of the Shakeman show is so many times when every year Mark and Jeannie do a drive for hunger, or especially it's always usually around Thanksgiving. They would do their rock for food. I think it was called the rock for food over there in Jersey. They still do it. They've been doing it faithfully for many years, and I'm honored to say that we've interviewed them almost every year and covered and spread the word out for them every year. And that's another thing I'm very honored that we were a part of also. So we have this show has a history with Heaven's Edge.
Stop tugging my cord, man.
This show has a history with Heaven's Edge, and it's something we want to share, especially through this tragic time that we're going through. And G-Man, I mean, you had a very we got you into Heaven's Edge. We got you out there to see them, and you were blown away by them.
I'll be honest, I'd never heard of them before.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like following like the big band, living out in the middle of nowhere in Audubon. I mean,
right.
That Audubon's nowhere, but it was a small town.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go to Philly as readily as...
You didn't have the music scene out there like Philly, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had no clue who Heaven's Edge was, and then, not until I started work, being on the show with you guys,
mm-hmm.
and then...
you were blown away at the show. I remember seeing them for the first time. You were like, dude, you ain't kidding about these guys. These guys are freaking awesome on stage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how I knew they were special from the first time I saw them.
I mean, it was a TLA, right? Was that what
yeah,
it's a small club, but
and we were right up there. We were right up front.
Well, the thing is, they're putting on a show like they're in the middle of a huge stadium. Doesn't matter how big the place is.
Yep.
You guys do the same thing with your show.
Yeah.
There could be 5 people there. You're playing like you're playing to 3,000.
Right.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah. And that's the way they would approach every show. And, when I seen this band for the first time, they were the movements on stage. I'm like, and Empire was not a big place, and the stage was tiny. I played on that stage once or twice, and
and they always knew where each other was at.
Yeah, and they
not always.
Not always. No. Mark did tell us there was a couple accidents
where they got clocked a good couple times.
He said you might not have noticed it out in the crowd. We made it. We covered it up good, but he said there was a night there was a couple cracked open foreheads, and but their movements to their music and the things
in the middle of the show. How about that?
And you know what was really cool when they were flipping the guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and they would acknowledge Deadhead Kids all the time. The Deadhead Kids were the first band to really be doing that in the scene.
Yep.
Nothing against Deadhead Kids. I love the guys that were in the band.
Really?
Just not the kind of music that attracted me like Heaven's Edge's music, but phenomenal stage show. Them guys were really good on stage, and they always acknowledge Deadhead Kids started that, not us.
Yeah.
We just kind of perfected it, or we just kind of followed in the same footsteps. They always give credit to the Deadhead Kids for that. And it's so funny years later how things come around where
he pulled them up on stage.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, they pulled him up on stage, and they pulled Billy up there.
Yeah.
And it was when he was talking about that.
Yeah.
And
Billy up there from Tangier.
Yeah.
Great voice. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It's such a small world. You had two great performers that are local that were in that band. Mike LeCompte sang in that band, and Billy sang in that band, and and it's funny how so many time they gave credit to the Deadhead Kids, and then later, just a few years back, Mark Evans is in a David Bowie tribute band with George Rumble from the Deadhead Kids.
Yeah,
it's just how they always stayed close in the community. You know what I mean? Yep. And it was just a great band of guys where they're very down to earth guys. You can talk to every single one of them. They would always give you the time of day. And like I said, they didn't become major rock stars with money, fame, fortune, all that. But in my mind, these guys will always be rock stars. They earned to get that record deal, and they worked hard for it, and they deserved it. And like I said, yeah. And it's always going to be a band that's special to my heart. So you guys that are out there listening and getting ready to play some Heaven's Edge, if you've never heard of them before, if you've never heard about them, please go online. I believe now they're Paris Records. I believe they're in New York, because what happened was I believe the first album went out of print, but Paris Records brought it back. So I believe they have, now this was a couple of years back, but I believe Paris Records still has the both Heaven's Edge albums available. Now don't quote me on that, but I would say check out Paris Records, because they brought back a lot of albums that were out of print. So if you want to check these guys out, and I recommend you buy their two albums, because they're phenomenal. Both albums are phenomenal from beginning to finish. Never wrote a bad song, in my opinion. I think Reggie and Mark are genius together when they write. But they got two albums out, which is self-titled Heaven's Edge, and the second album is called Some Other Place, Some Other Time, is the name of the second album. The release of the first album was in 1990. Second release was in 1999. And if you don't have them in your collection, I recommend you get them. If you want to just check them out on YouTube, they got plenty of videos on YouTube from the beginning of their days to recent. The recent shows they put on, there's a lot of live videos of the band. So check them out. Heaven's Edge, formed out of Philadelphia. And I'm just honored to say I was part of being in this band's career as a true fan and friends of these guys. And I'm just honored to say I'm a Heaven's Edge fan. So we're going to play a block of Heaven's Edge for you right now, or at least a few tunes. I don't know how many we could play, and we have rules now. So I just think as long as I don't play, all like 4 off the same album, I think we're good. Exactly. I can play a couple off each. So what I'll do is give you a taste of the 2 albums by giving you a block of the band that is special to my heart and a great band. Even though we're going to move on with the show, like I said, we're going to pay dedication to this band forever. But, the show is going to roll on after this block. But if the lines are open all night long, even if we're on some other subject, doing whatever we do here on the show, please feel free, if there's no music being played or any commercial being played, feel free to give us a call. If you have any Heaven's Edge story, if you want to say anything about George, even if you want to say, just jump on the line and go, rest in peace, Gigi. Even if it's something simple like that. Who cares? Give us a call. 215-600-3284, the number to go to. 215-600-3284. So let's get started and pay tribute to Gigi. God bless his soul and rest in peace. A phenomenal performer out of the Philadelphia area. Great dude. We're going to miss him very much. And great band, Heaven's Edge. So in honor of Gigi and the band Heaven's Edge, let's get a little dirty. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's your home for old school rock and roll, and where you're going to hear Heaven's Edge here on the Shakeman Show, WNYXradio.com.